Hey, do me a favor. Hand me the kernel, because it doesn't matter the amount of tea that I've been drinking. It's not really working. So I'm going to have to go into
the good stuff.
You've seen me in this situation before.
I have.
You have seen me in this situation before where my voice is shot. Now, some of this was self-induced, but today is about the allergies. But you know what? I ain't a quitter.
That is quite a glass, man.
It's an amazing
It really
glass.
is.
It is an amazing glass. Let me take a sip of this real quick. See if it'll work. Do I need cigarettes to go with this? Go real raspy? Sound like Bonnie Tyler out there? Total eclipse of the heart.
Nothing I can do. A total eclipse of the heart.
All right.
Once upon a time, there was a podcast in the dark. Now there's only light in my life.
All right, you ready to do this?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's see if this bourbon helps with the voice.
That's a straight rye.
I know, it's the kernel. It's the good stuff. We keep the good stuff around here. Although I do have a Whistle Pig 15 I might have to get into at some point. Let's podcast alongside. Ooh.
No?
Let's try this again.
Not helping?
Let's hold on a second. Let's try this again. Sometimes you got to power through. It's like I have this conversation.
The kernel can't solve it.
Hey, look,
I don't
man,
know what can.
I have this conversation with the kids all the time. Are you hurt? You know, like, are you playing hurt or are you legitimately injured? There's a difference.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to power through. Okay, let's try this again. Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. You got print management. You need document management. You want to save money on those print costs. Very sneaky in draining your budget. They can help at Copiers Plus. It all starts with a free consultation at copiers-plus.com. Oof. I got 2 podcasts to do today too.
You rallying?
Yeah, because we got to do an OG on business today too. So I need to save some of my voice.
Okay. We have some wonderful guests today.
We do.
Great conversations.
So have you ever like witnessed a meme birthed on the internet in real time?
In real time?
In real time.
Not that I can sit there and tell you specifically, no.
I witnessed it last night. Now look, I'm about to bring up last night's presidential debate.
Okay.
But not in any way, shape, or form other than how it ties to our world of sports. Okay. And our extremely online culture. Now, I'll admit, I watched last night because I love a train wreck. Okay. And I knew last night was going to be a train wreck. And then we get this from former President Donald Trump. And when I heard it, I knew exactly what was going to happen.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
I have concepts.
I have concepts of a plan. When I heard that, I went, oh boy, here we go. Sports, social media is about to be popping. I have a concept of a plan. I'm flashing back to Peter Carmanos in an interview with John Forsland, where Forsland was just doing his best to be like, give the fans some hope and optimism. He was like, I guess, sure, I don't know. I got a concept of a plan. That was my first thought. I'm like, how many people are going to put the owner or the coach or the commissioner they think isn't really doing a good job? And sure enough, Ash on Twitter, I have concepts of a plan with a picture of David Tepper, Carolina Panthers owner. I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. Peter Burns at the SEC Network, he beat me to the punch. I had this concept of a plan. The alliance. The ACC Big Ten Pac-12 alliance. That's Jim Phillips with a concept of a plan. My goodness. So this continued. Everybody's just putting out, their owner or coach or player or whoever it is with concepts of a plan. Russell Wilson suited up as an inactive player. I mean, concept of a plan. You never know. They might need me. Might need me, Joe. So I thought that was amusing last night. It's going to be the meme you'll see all damn day today.
I'm just disappointed they didn't reenact the do not come. Do not come. I'm going to come. I'm disappointed that wasn't reenacted. That's all.
The other reason to open up the bourbon today?
Why?
We have official parking deck tailgate zone concept art, Joe.
Uh-oh.
Let's go.
I'm excited about this.
Hold on a second. Where's my favorite roadcaster? Let's go. We've got concept art from the PNC renovations. Now,
Are those all parking decks?
hold on a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Did I pull it up on the YouTubes? I did.
Yeah.
So first phase slated to kick off in December of 2025 will include an expanded plaza to complement the upcoming arena renovation. Will feature a 600-foot promenade lined with tailgating suites, balconies, and a new open space for thousands of fans to gather, blending time-honored traditions with state-of-the-art innovation. That was written in a lab.
Okay.
So this is what the NC State tailgate alley will look like.
Okay.
So as you can see, Steve, our guy Steve, he is pantless looking at these images. Has to be. So if you're watching on YouTube, and I'll describe it for the podcast audience, this is a like fake turf alley.
Okay.
With what amounts to tailgating suites that are attached to the parking deck. So the idea being you pay, I'm guessing, a shit ton of money for the right to park in these decks. And it'll give you access to like little balcony areas where you can tailgate. And on the bottom floor, you will get like actual tailgate suites. This is elevated tailgating, ladies and gentlemen. And then on the other side,
this is a very SEC concept. I remember they went to Mississippi State.
Yep.
They had something like this.
Yep.
Yes.
And then, you can look on this other one, they have what amounts to like, so if you're watching on YouTube, they're showing you the angle that goes back towards the parking lot, towards Wade Avenue. So if you're watching on YouTube, this is the angle from PNC Arena looking at the east. Is it the east parking lot where we park for media, right?
Go back to the original slide.
The original
first
slide.
one.
Oh, yes.
The overview. The other way. There, that one.
That one.
That one's more instructive.
That one's more instructive. Sorry, apologies for that.
Okay.
So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see where this is. If you're at the arena, you're looking towards.
If you're looking
Wade
at your
Avenue.
radio dial,
Yes.
on your
you.
right is Carter-Finley Stadium. On your left is the Lenovo Center.
Mhm.
And so in between, right now, we have what is basically an empty space. There is no parking there. I want to emphasize that right now. Right now, it's just a plaza that is tits on a bull, quite frankly. So this is where they're going to put some of these alleys and elevated type of experiences for your tailgating. The parking deck. It's ridiculous to say.
Parking deck tailgate.
Parking deck.
Of course, Carolina fans who go to Keena going, oh, look at that. NC State fans have invented parking deck tailgating.
Okay, so now again, looking on this primary slide, where on your radio dial, the Carter-Finley Stadium's on your right, and the ESA is on your left. I see 3 total structures in the parking area. 2 of them directly like between Carter-Finley Stadium and the arena, and then a third that would be towards the Wade Avenue exit, which is where like you're talking about, that East Media parking right now, the VIP lot right now. I believe that is going to be the venue for music.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I believe you're correct.
Okay.
I believe you are correct.
On this rendering now, though, Joe, I don't see hotels and I don't see other development in terms of.
Well, that's over here in the clouds.
Oh, okay. That's on the other side.
Well, they're not showing that. Again, this is the first phase.
Because they don't own that. They're going to sell that, basically.
I don't know what they're going to do with that, honestly. I honestly don't know.
Oh, this is phase 1.
This is phase 1. And obviously, they've got these LED boards that make it, the ability to change out what you're tailgating for.
Sure.
So, you can have the NC State stuff and the signage for NC State times. And obviously, you can have Cane stuff when it's time for the Canes. And so the Centennial Authority will probably approve a lot more of this stuff on Thursday, along with the official name change of PNC Arena to Lenovo Center. But it's happening, Joe. I was excited. When I saw that hit my email inbox this morning, I was like, look at that. We got the tailgate parking decks.
Often told them you really just need to release where you're going to put those parking decks so that people can square it. And so good.
They got it.
We'll need to get Philip on and some others to try to talk to us a little bit.
Yes.
And try to talk some state fans off the ledge.
Well, I have a feeling we're going to be at the new Lenovo Center next Thursday.
Okay.
As they do a lot of unveiling. And that might be an opportunity to talk about some of these renderings and plans and when this will actually look the way that it's supposed to look going forward.
Important to note here, and again, from the perspective of state fans who live for their tailgating and parking, I don't see anything on that other side of Carter-Finley Stadium where you already see the grass, the paved lots. Yeah. There's nothing there on where the practice facility is. There's nothing on that other side.
No.
These are all high donor spots now.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
So that's not touched. You're still going to have the faculty area, which is as close as you get to TX now these days. My only thing is between the stadium and the arena there right now, there is some unused space. So I could see how they could reclaim some of that and turn it into something a little bit more appealing. So I get it. If you're a tailgate extraordinaire and you're feeling like this is going to be a bad thing, I would just say have a little bit of an open mind.
That's fair.
Because I think they're trying to minimize the number of spots that will be displaced. Also in the process of adding spots.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com. Green Cleaning Solutions.
If you have messes at your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it green clean with Enovana.
Was Lulu happy with the job that Enovana did yesterday when he got back home?
Ecstatic. Yeah, she was delighted.
Good.
They did a great job yesterday.
They always do a great job. That's the beauty of Enovana. So check them out online, enovana.com. We got OG fans. For as little as $13 a month, you get exclusive access to newsletters written by Joe Giglio, Lauren Brownlow. Our guy Tom Edwards will drop some new Canes heat today on the newsletter. It will also give you access to exclusive podcasts. These are behind the paywall. That includes ACC Panic Room. That includes OG Stands on Business, which will have a new episode today, Law of the Wolf, and of course the OG Mailbag, which you can leave questions for us on the OG Sports phone.
You really should play the mailbag theme for the people. That would really get them to buy it.
No.
Where is it?
No, Joe.
I like this. I like it when I get to hit buttons.
No, it's not on here though. The OG
What'd you do with it?
It's on the. It's I imported in.
Oh,
I imported it.
Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing it. If you want to hear the OG Mailbag,
you got to pay for it.
You got to pay for it. That's the way it is.
Gross.
So go to ogtrianglemedia.com.
I'm trying to get the people going.
Yeah. They might hear it in a preview of the mailbag.
Oh, okay.
Just saying. So go to ogtrianglemedia.com today and sign up. You can save money if you sign up for the year. $143 for the year.
Yeah, what I hear you saying is buy 11 months, get one free.
That's exactly
that's what I hear.
What it is. Thursday, we're going to Nature's Relief. Hopefully, they've got something there at Nature's Relief that can relieve this throat. Because goodness gracious, it is not working.
Soothe your throat.
With some hippie sips. Just have the THCA coat and we're good to go, baby. Good to go. So we're going to be at the Holly Ridge Shopping Center. I finally got it right.
Love it.
So we're going to be there from 2 to 3.
Old school, my man.
Let's go. And then we're going to go to O'Malley's. We're going to crossfade, and then we're going to go to Peddler Steakhouse after that. Yeah. You ready?
Jennifer's fired up. She texted me, and she's like, I got a lot to say. I was like, okay.
Cool.
That means I'm having a drink, and you just do the show with Ovies.
That also means that means I have to get a new camera, number one. Number two, that also means that...
we can bring that one.
No. We need the third one, remember? You don't like that third camera that we use.
I do not like it, but we can... I see what you're saying.
I got to go to Best Buy.
Yes.
Go get it. They're on sale, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, Jennifer has a lot to talk about because there's some changes in laws coming up that affect our friends.
Let's open that mic and let her go.
Nature's Relief Hempstore.com. Check them out. RELEAF Hempstore.com. Big thanks to Breeze Through. We've been talking about tailgating. One thing that will not change in all those renderings. Breeze Through.
Right there.
It's still right there.
For all of your help.
If you want to park
all
there,
of your needs,
you can park there. First come, first serve. They got a food truck, Oak City Grill. It's good stuff. So check them out. BreezeThrough.com. And of course, our friends at O2 Fitness.
O2 Fitness, so much more than a gym.
I was at O2 Fitness yesterday with Jacob. It's getting those the upper body gains.
Whoa.
Got to be able to put kids into the board, man. That's what you got to do.
So part of my Renew physiotherapy, got an app. I love an app. Really easy to follow. Number 2 is a towel. Right? Like I know you think, oh man, I got to go out and do this. I got to do that. It's going to be so complicated. No. Krista says, here, take a towel and twist and you get that neck going. And I was like, all right.
Interesting.
I like this.
Interesting.
Did it this morning. Felt good. I feel good. I feel good.
Felt it in my plums. Go to O2fitnessclubs.com. I was there yesterday doing the elliptical.
Seaboard.
Got some weights in as well. Jacob's getting yoked. He's hyped.
That area is really... by next year is going to be like, you're going to be like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So again, O2fitnessclubs.com. Joining us on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline from WFNZ in Charlotte, he is Walker Mehl. Walker, what's going on, man? How are things in Charlotte, buddy?
Hornet season is about to start soon. We're close.
I can't send this to you via video, but just so you know, I am.
Oh man, yeah. Look, that thing is already a little empty. Was that full yesterday?
It might have been. It might have been. And the funny thing is, we have a Swifty friendship bracelet that says "positive vibes only"
on it. Yes.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of positive vibes coming out of Charlotte. So I am curious. You know me, man. You could take me out of radio, but you can't take radio out of me. And I was thinking about you and Kyle Bailey and WFNZ and going, God, what the hell was Monday like in Charlotte after that?
I mean, we set a record for text messages on the world famous WFNZ text line. That's a real story. That happened. Mac and Bone, the critically acclaimed morning show, they had like, I don't know, 1,500 text, profanity laden text already like through an hour and a half of the show. And that was just getting the day started. People were sounding off, man, and it continued on through Charlotte Sports Today, Weston Walker, and of course the Kyle Bailey show. It was happening, man. It was bad. I just like watching the season. I was willing to give Bryce Young a shot, right? I spent this entire offseason saying there is something to having a terrible situation around you. Not only is it unprecedented, the size in which this quarterback is going into the NFL with, but it's with Frank Reich. It's with a terrible offensive line. It's with Adam Thielen as your number one receiver. Cool. You've heard it all before. There's reason to be hopeful that now there's a decent amount of change, nothing anywhere close to perfect, but there's a lot of change. Maybe we see the beginning stages of a process that Bryce shows you. You can win with them. Could he be a franchise QB? I was willing, baby. I was willing to see what could become of him. And the first throw is an interception, right? Like, forget the 60-yard bomb.
Yeah.
It was terrible. The defense is awful. Everything about this offseason was making sure that Bryce could be the guy, and maybe more so what might be a better description is everything about this offseason was making sure we had enough to answer the question, is Bryce the guy? I just didn't want the answer on the first throw of the season. I didn't want that. And that's exactly what took place. And then in the second half, he threw an interception on the second pass of that period. I mean, it was over. Like, Joe, it was over in 3 minutes. It's 10-0, 3 minutes, 6 seconds left into the game. We all go into halftime with it being 30-3, done. Derek Brown's out for the season. There's an extra present for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, a lot. I saw some, and I'm sure you got this on the text line because I saw it on YouTube. I got an email about it, got some tweets about it. That fans were mad about Bryce Young, like laughing off the interceptions. And of course, my thought is, y'all never laughed at something that you couldn't believe was happening, and that's your only reaction. It's like, it's not that he thought it was fun. He was laughing because he couldn't believe it was happening.
He knew it was ridiculous. He's like, ridiculous. First throw of the year.
On, man.
It's also like we're laughing and we're also, rocking back and forth in fetal position.
Right,
we're doing all the same thing in a straitjacket.
Now look. Giglio is really speed running a radio career. Because typically what happens when you get eliminated from your position, you will.
But I just like eliminated.
When you get eliminated, typically you can go one of two directions. But I think Joe wants to go in two directions. He wants to like do his own podcast thing, but I think he secretly wants to be a radio consultant.
I do, and at the risk of telling someone who's gainfully employed by a radio business, I'm going to give you this one for free. Okay,
please. I'm all ears, man.
Every morning Zoo Crew has a segment, tell me something good. And I tried this off season with the training camp stuff, and man, what a piss missile! And Bryce Young, elite ball placement against the Jets in the practices, and I'm like, okay, good, we need this, keep this going. And then handsome Dave Canales after they beat the Bills, I was like, God damn, this guy's making me believe in this power of the positivity bullshit. Like this happy motherfucker's gonna get it done, man. Yes. And then they go out and it's 30-3 in an NFL game at the half. That is like impossible. And so now I'm like, well, how do we keep this positive? I found the way, Walker. Every day you say, tell me something good. You play the music and you say, the Carolina Panthers still have their first round pick in the 2025 draft, because after the last 2 years, that's an accomplishment. They still have They're a first round pick.
I can picture the text line right now responding with, "Oh, cool, we have our second round pick too, right?" No, no, guys. Focus on this. It's
Walker, Walker.
baby steps. Wait,
You said, tell me something good.
That's right.
We told you something good.
Yeah, no, we need to stick to Rufus, baby. I'm with you. Like, what? Only the first round pick, and I just took a flamethrower to your idea immediately, and I apologize for that. But you're right. It is funny, man. That
You got to get in character.
just like as we talk a little inside radio stuff here, it's blame radio, venting radio. It's all great. The yelling, the screaming, like that absolutely has its day. But in order to keep the people coming back, like they don't want to feel terrible every single day. So it is important for you to do that. You're right. Like it makes our job hard when it's that bad. I mean, people have made the joke. It can't get any worse. It somehow gets worse every single time.
No.
It can always get worse. Like, it's crazy. Even Derek Brown out for the season. Are you kidding me? You play that kind of game and then you lose what is pretty universally understood is the Panthers' best player now. And Derek Brown is gone. He's not coming back. Yeah, man, it can always get worse. So with the bright spots here, you're right. They do have their first round pick. I can't help but go to the negative again, saying, well, this isn't as strong of a quarterback class as it was last year, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's still a first round pick, and we can focus on some of the positives here, even if you have to take out a pretty damn strong magnifying glass to do so.
And they could trade that pick, kind of like the Bears did.
Yeah, they could.
They could do something like that, right? Then get I'm a leaving Tennessee, Nico.
Yeah. Here's the other problem.
Look good.
Here's the other problem, guys. You can go all tell me something good. God, my voice is so shot. Blame the allergies today. But, Walker brings up the text line going, yeah, but what about the second round? No.
Ooh,
That's tired. Wired is, first round pick. Who's our owner again?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say the yin and the yang here now, Walker, now that we're workshopping. Now, this feels like a meeting. There might need
It does. Yeah, turn off the live feed.
Hold on a second. We're having a meeting.
It's a double.
We're having a meeting.
It's a double segment. Tell me something good. And then you play my man, Brett Michaels, Talk Dirty to Me.
Oh, jeez.
And
All
that's,
right.
After you say Talk Dirty to Me.
Are you sure you're not a program director right now? I mean, you're controlling the whole thing.
There's something, Walker, what happens when you get let go from a radio station, it unlocks consultant mode. Like, well, that's what happens.
See,
so then you go Talk Dirty to Me. That's when you throw in, well, yeah, we don't have our second round pick. Well, yeah, David Tepper is still our owner. Well, yeah, our offensive line is a flaming tire fire.
Well, I got eliminated too from radio. Like, I didn't go into consultant mode. What happened to me was I just immediately had to figure out, I had to do all the same stuff we're talking about, except use it for the Hornets. Like, how do we Tell Me Something Good about the Hornets every day? Because I was still doing the podcast.
Yeah.
I at least had something to, I got to be in damage control for an entirely different franchise here. And I was able to put some of those efforts to that, but you're right. Like you immediately go into how do we make it work? I'm with you guys.
That actually gets me to why I reached out yesterday, honestly. Here's another radio consultant opportunity for you. And you can do it on the radio show today. I know you're starting up here in a hot minute. Which franchise is in a worse shape right now? The Carolina Panthers or the Charlotte Hornets? Now, mind you, the rebooted Charlotte Hornets have been terrible for 20 years. How many playoff appearances have we had in 20 years?
It's not many. I think since the second iteration of the franchise, they've been to the playoffs 3 times.
3 times.
Bobcats twice, Hornets 2015-16, couple play-in appearances sprinkled in there. That doesn't count. It doesn't count. You're right.
So, at least we're nearly 10 years removed from a Super Bowl appearance. I mean,
they've had 2.
And they've had 2 of them as a franchise, but I mean, I got to imagine that. I mean, I went semi-viral in the Charlotte craft beer community, according to my guy Witt, when I tweeted out, now I understand why the Charlotte beer scene is so freaking good, because their pro franchises suck.
Thank God for that. Yeah, we need it.
Honestly, who's in a worse situation right now?
No, I think I really don't even think this is recency bias either. I really think it's the Panthers right now. Guys, think about the trade. Let's just start there.
We've tried to black it out, but you're right. Yeah. Sometimes when you go back and actually do the the autopsy on that trade, it really will drive you to more than just beer.
Look, there might be a couple of radio cliches sprinkled in here, but I would think it's correct to say quarterback is the most important position in sports. You got one, you got a shot to be good every single season. They gave up everything for a guy that does not look like a starting, not franchise, doesn't look like a starting QB right now. And we were willing to give him a shot because of how terribly everything went last year. But you have an entirely different system now. Like that offense, it's easy to just blame everybody, right? And I can understand that. It all starts at the top. You can climb the ladder and you can get to David Tepper. And ultimately that's where it starts. And I don't disagree with that whatsoever. But the coach is also blamed on your way to the top of that climb. And I actually don't think a lot of what we saw against the Saints is this real problem with offensive scheme. Like, people are mad about throwing the ball in the first play of the game. Man, we're going to find out if we have a quarterback or not.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? Like, you throw it. He didn't think it was going to be an interception, but are you going to be mad if Bryce Young throws an interception on the first play or the fourth play? Either way, it's bad. The dude's going to have to throw for us to figure out if he is the franchise quarterback. The offense looked completely different. You got guys in motion, play action, something we weren't doing with Frank Reich. Jonathan Mingo is out here fumbling footballs. What do you want Dave to do?
Yeah,
and then with all the positivity, they're going to lose. They're going to lose bad. So it doesn't matter what you say. He could be angry. I take full accountability. We're going to change this. Well, we didn't see it change on the field, Dave. Like, it doesn't matter. He could be positive. He could be negative. When you lose and you lose that badly, there is quite literally nothing that will be received well by the fan base. And it's been happening for 7 years. So when we have these conversations, classic, owners don't go away, but coaches and GMs do. Mm-hmm. Well, the Hornets, their owner went away. Michael Jordan sold the team, and they have two guys in Gabe Plotkin and Rick Schnall. We like to call him Schlotkin around here. They're running the team. So with Schlotkin now in place, man, they have embraced this new idea of how to build an NBA team. Every decision that they've made feels right to me. They finally sold on the guys that kept them in the middle class, where they were right outside the playoffs, but they were too high. They were too low to get a high draft pick. Nah, man, we got first round picks for Terry Rozier and PJ Washington. Like, they're continuing to make the right decisions. And you know what? Like, top 100 NBA players list, the Hornets have 3 guys on those lists, and they're all 26 or younger. They got to stay healthy. That's the key. The Panthers don't have their quarterback figured out. They have their first round pick. But Carson Beck, Shadur Sanders, I don't know who the QB is going to be. So now, are you going to draft like James Pierce, Michael Williams, which means now we're probably going to go after one of these bridge QBs? Are you bringing Teddy Bridgewater back? Are we going to go through that type of scenario where it's a long climb out of the hole right now, where at least the Hornets have already begun that climb? The Panthers might continue to be falling back. And that's why I really don't think it's recency bias. I think the Panthers are in a worse spot right now.
Here's what radio consultants do best. They make it seem like it's your idea. So you've said climb twice now. Now we definitely have the Miley Cyrus song in the background. But now I want Price is Right style yodeling up the mountain.
We played this game, Joe. I've created this game. Yes.
To see who's climbing, who's made the climb.
Yeah. We called it like King of the Mountain or something, but we absolutely had the yodeling in the background. Yeah. Hey, great radio consultant minds think alike.
See,
man.
they think alike. But you throw that Miley Cyrus in there, and then we're really cooking with gas.
I did not do that. I will do that the next time. I mean, we're basically going to be playing that theme for like 3 years around here, trying to climb out of this hole with the Panthers. I hope it's sooner though.
So here's what I'm curious about, because this is going to be and we'll close on this. I am curious. I know the text line was probably already here on Bryce Young being benched in favor of Andy Dalton.
The Red Rifle, baby.
Right. I know we're here fan wise, because that's like, it's like any other thing. Like, you're not happy with your team in football. There's 2 things that you can scream about: fire the coach or change the quarterback. I mean, we don't need to get into why the team is overall bad on multiple fronts. It's just, well, you got to do something. Fire the coach or go get rid of the quarterback. Well, they already fired the coach. They got a new coach. Can't fire Dave Canales just yet. But you've seen enough of the Bryce Young in some people's minds. And I'm with you, man. I was looking for something on Sunday. I didn't see it, and I'm starting to wonder about next year. But I know fans are already thinking about this year. So when would things get bad enough where they just go, hey, look, Bryce, man, this ain't it. So we got to go to Andy. What is
All
that?
right. So if you continue to play that poorly,
Yeah.
I mean, Andy Dalton, I don't know if it's hyperbole to say that he could show up against the Charger if it just happens like that again. I don't expect it to look that bad. First throw pick. So realistically, you're probably, pretty much cementing him into the first 4, 5, 6 starts, somewhere around in that range.
Okay.
And then if it continues, maybe you go to Andy Dalton to just try to give this fan base a decent enough product to go to Bank of America and cheer for. But realistic, like for me, that's the fan thing, right? But if you're asking for the non-fan take, try to be as logical about this as possible.
Yeah, let's try to be as logical as possible about this, because I have an answer, but I'm curious yours.
No, I tend to agree with the notion that we're going to find either Bryce Young is going to play himself into being the starting quarterback next year, or he's going to play himself into you having a bad enough draft pick to give Carson Beck a shot. Like I don't know. Carson Beck isn't the answer. I don't know. Shadur Sanders isn't the answer. So if you give yourself a shot to evaluate those guys and find that out, and then you have the pick to select them if you want to in the top 2, top 3, then maybe just playing Bryce Young pretty much the entire way through is the answer. If those were the two options, playing him through the entire year or benching him pretty quickly just to give you like bridge QB, competent enough football, but ultimately ends up winning in like 6 wins, something like that. The better thing for the franchise is still to probably ride this thing out with Bryce and either get a high draft pick or Bryce plays himself into something you can salvage in year 3.
Yeah, you have to know.
You have to know.
This year is not about this year, unfortunately, for the Panthers.
Yeah.
Already. It is really, truly about trying to figure out if this is the guy or not. And I would, obviously, you got to be you have to be willing to give him more than one game. I get that. And I know there was a hole last year. And speaking of mistakes, last year, they probably should have played the red rifle at the beginning of the year, but they were terrible. And then kind of maybe built him up and got him some confidence. But that didn't happen.
They should have made Bryce Young's fake injury last longer.
So, but that didn't happen. So now this year, you really have no other choice but to throw him out there and see what he is. And
that's the most concerning thing, guys. Like it was, I really did try to figure out what was it, the offensive line, was it the receivers? Now, man, this one's on Bryce. It's on Bryce. The defense is terrible too. Like if we're just talking about what matters the most this season, though, what's affecting the quarterback and our decision to see if he can be the guy. The offensive line, if you subscribe to Pro Football Focus, like the interior was pass protecting. The tackles weren't all that bad. The receivers, maybe they didn't get great separation, but we saw the throws. There were lanes to be for him to throw the football. The guy is scared to death of the pocket. He doesn't step up, whether it's because he's short and weak or whether it's because he just is spooked easily. I don't know. But there are simple things other quarterbacks do to win in this league that he's not doing. I defended Bryce a lot last year. I was a fan of the pick. I was like, okay, he can beat you with accuracy and processing. And then the first game we get into what should be a resurrection or even just a reclamation year.
Yeah.
It's a pick, like the first throw. And Bryce himself is laughing at it. It's tough times here in the Queen City, man.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page here when it comes to Bryce Young. You have to leave no doubt when it comes to Bryce Young. And if that means you suck through a 1-win, 2-win, 3-win season, so be it. You have an answer. Because I've seen some people kicking around with what's going on in Pittsburgh, right? Yeah. Like, oh, well, Justin Fields might be taking over if that spark is there, and Russell Wilson finds himself in a bench situation. He still thinks of him as a starter. I'm like, what are you going to get out of a trade for Russell Wilson? I've seen that floated out there.
Oh my God.
Come home.
It's Russ coming home.
No, I don't know.
I'm like, what does that accomplish? This team isn't good. What are you trying to do?
No, give me Bryce Young's 20th start in the NFL over old Russell Wilson any day. Like I know it's terrible, but the other reason you might do that is to evaluate young pieces at other positions. So, okay, where are those guys on the list? I don't need Russell Wilson to evaluate Jonathan Brooks when he comes back.
No,
maybe JT Sanders and Xavier Legette, maybe, but even so, we can measure other things as to are the wide receivers playing well despite their quarterback not playing well. I don't need Russell Wilson or even Andy Dalton for that matter to truly measure how good the pass catchers are. So
I'm with you on that.
It's about Bryce, man. It's what it is.
Totally with you on that. Hey, Walker, appreciate the time as always. And then you start in like 6 minutes, don't you?
No, we're 12. We're not 10.
You're 12,
no,
man, it's 10 o'clock.
if it was 10, we might have to wait. Yeah, I would be.
Oh, dude. Look, man,
your consulting would be, hey, maybe prep a little longer. Maybe that would be your consulting if I started at 10.
Well, that's a good point. You just did prep with us.
Just made it.
That's true. Thank you guys. I
You were in a
appreciate it. I
meeting
took
with
notes
us.
and
That's what
everything.
that was.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I've done back when I used to do morning radio, like 6 a.m. to 10, 6 a.m. to 9, right? And I got to the point where sometimes I was getting there at 5:56.
Oh, Joe, that's a different story. Morning is different. When
Yeah,
when
man.
I was doing mornings at 7:30, and I definitely rolled in like 15 minutes before. I felt bad, but I was rolling in 15 minutes consistently. I'd do my work at night,
Right.
and then I'd wake up, and then I'd roll in, and
Yeah.
like that's how I did things in the morning. But
Dude,
God
I
almighty.
walked in one time with Tony Rigsby doing the update right before the show started. Okay.
It's a
So
different
I'm thinking
beast.
about that life. It's a different time.
Dude,
All right,
it's what man, my bad. No, I was gonna say Mac is a different animal. Like that's why Mac is crazy. Like to do what consistently he's done prep wise and show up like
Oh, he's a
Mac-
psycho. No, he's a psycho.
he's a psycho. It's nuts. It's crazy.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
Hey, appreciate y'all, man. See ya.
Big thanks to Roback.com. Check them out. RHOBACK.com. Use the promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order.
Our guys at Roback are excited about the OG Golf Classic rapidly approaching in October. I am excited about the OG Golf Classic because I will be repping the Peaches. I'll be repping the Roback. I'll be Robacking up. It's RHO back. Roback.com. OG20. Use that promo code. Save yourself.
Topics, stack it up. Giglio's roll back it up.
It's true. He's Robacking up. It'll be a lot. Am I golfing? I can't remember. Or am I doing the thing where I'm
You
doing
have a
the
very special
That's right.
cameo
That's right.
where you will hit your left-handed 14 wood,
I'm excited about that.
and then others will hit your left-handed 14 wood, and they will get to play the best shot.
So excited about this. Big thanks to Hometown Realty. Check them out online, myhtr.com. You will see a lot of other companies talking about guaranteed offers. Joe, what's wrong with a guaranteed offer?
I mean, if you don't like money, cool. Yeah, I mean, you only have one investment in your home. It's your number one investment. It's the primary way for you to make money. So if you want to throw that away by taking somebody's half-cock theory, cool.
Yeah.
If you want to be smart, maximize your primary investment, go to Hometown Realty. It's myhtr.com.
Big thanks to the Butcher's Market. Let's say you just bought that new home. You've got a fancy new kitchen. Well, you're not going to not bring it in the kitchen, right?
I'm not going to sully it.
Absolutely not. You go to the Butcher's Markets. Go to thebutchersmarkets.com to find out more. They got things like Steak of the Month Club. You can get whatever cut of meat that you need. Or if you're trying to keep it simple, they've got them already marinated, whether you can get them behind the glass or they already have them prepackaged, vacuum sealed, ready to go. It's all at the Butcher's Markets. You know, sometimes you can leave Witherspoon Student Center at NC State, but deep inside you, Witherspoon Student Center always lives, and
Yes.
you're always going to find those connections from student media. Jimmy Ryals is in studio with us. He's at the Assembly, and he wrote a story about the fading nature of minor league baseball in small towns in North Carolina. Jimmy, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Thanks for having me on. It feels like I've stepped back into Witherspoon 1998 with George Tarantini looking over Joe's shoulder over there.
Yeah, there's that, and then yes, my aesthetic really has not changed since
Well,
I was general manager at WKNC.
In fairness, we did not have a $300 bottle of bourbon
No,
in the Weatherspoon Center.
no. At best, we had Aristocrat.
Yeah,
That's what we
it's
had.
definitely plastic. I do have a Busch Light peach in there, though.
Now that's more
Now
like that screams 1998 Witherspoon Student Center. But no, Jimmy, you reached out to me to highlight the fact that you're writing the story, and this stuff is like catnip for me because I'm always fascinated by older parts of the state fading away as the modern sports takes over. And I've been to that stadium. I know people who worked at that Kinston Stadium, and it's a quaint throwback to what minor league baseball used to be. But that's not what Major League Baseball is interested in anymore. And I guess that kind of factors into the Wood Ducks leaving Kinston for South Carolina, right?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Granger Stadium's a really beautiful ballpark. It's from a golden age of baseball. It was built in 1949, but it's not built for having secure places for the players to park or having big, nice locker rooms or some of the other stuff that's in the new facility standards that Major League Baseball passed during the pandemic. And Spartanburg is willing to build a multi-million-dollar stadium that has all that and more, and lots of opportunity for new revenue for the team. So yeah, I think Granger Stadium itself is a big part of the reason that they're leaving. And private equity takes over all the economy eventually, and Diamond Baseball Holdings is buying up teams and moving them to places where they might be a little more profitable.
Okay.
But that's some really fucking backwards thinking, isn't it? Like, why do you think the minor league model has sustained itself for as long as it has?
Right.
Like, I don't want you to be in single A ball for any longer than you should be.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're riding the fucking bus. That's why you're sitting in a cinder hole in the wall, because I want you to progress. I want you to get to the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to the idiot with the Bulls who was running his mouth about sewer water, right? I can't even think of his name. He has some problematic legal issues. Wander Franco was talking about how bad it was in the minor leagues. Yeah, that's the whole fucking point, dude. This isn't the life of luxury.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be on the bus. You're supposed to be in a lousy hotel. Like, what? What? This is a real fucking thing? They're moving out of Kinston to some palace in South Carolina? You gotta be kidding me. This is ridiculous.
Well, I do think there's an element of wanting to have some control over your investment, right? Of wanting to
Major
have,
League.
yeah,
Major League.
Which people, I should go back a half step and contextualize. Major League Baseball during the pandemic basically restructured the minor leagues and said, and we saw this with our former employer, like basically, cool, you're there. You basically have given us some money, but you don't control your merch anymore. Nope. You don't control your ticket sales anymore. You really don't control anything anymore. You're basically in a pyramid scheme now with the major league, with the major leagues.
Yeah.
Right. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Because that's really where this is all kind of going.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there was a desire for Major League Baseball to level the playing field a little bit among clubs, so that you look at the Astros having teams all the way down to the lowest level of rookie league and controlling players, and finding some value in places that other teams didn't, because they weren't investing in having as many teams as possible. Now saying everybody gets 4 teams, every player is going to be paid a better living wage.
Yeah.
Every facility is going to look and feel like this. It eliminates some of the advantages for teams that were willing to invest in that, and helps out teams that were a little cheap about it.
But that's also the other aspect of this that cracks me up. These are the types of things that in any other walk of life, we just go, hey man, market forces. You didn't want to invest, you didn't want to compete, and you got washed out, And there's also the aspect of not everything has to be maximized for its profit in efficiency, right? And I feel like what you end up doing is you start to take out reasons why people would fall in love with baseball, especially baseball. Baseball is the most romantic of all of the sports that we have in this country. And the reason why people get romantic about this stuff is because of stadiums like in Kinston, like Five County Stadium, which is now going to be moved on from, as the Mudcats are going to be going to Wilson for another much more up-to-date, Instagram friendly type event space and whatnot. Because that's what I view these baseball stadiums as.
Yeah.
No, that's what they are.
I know.
The baseball stadiums are event spaces. That's what they are now.
I've never felt older than I am right now.
Right.
The first time I came North Carolina, first time ever I came to North Carolina was the summer of 92. And my dad and I, we went to a game in Durham at the old Durham Athletic Park.
the old BAP, right?
And we're from New Jersey. Like, I mean, you got to remember now, I'm 17 years old, and there's a potato sack race, and the prize was a bag of manure. And my dad and I are like, what time machine ass backwards place have we just walked into? But then the game went along, and my dad's like, man, these beers are like $2.
Right.
And he's like, you could get something called a flying burrito for like $3. And I'm like, because we're used to going to Yankee Stadium, right? And he's like, this is 1,000 times better than. And he's like, you might want to come over to see some of these games. Yeah. And so like the experience kind of shifted our own mindset towards like, what is that minor league experience compared to what maybe you're used to seeing? But again, I think that's part of
it's a charm.
Like that's a feature. That's not a bug.
Yep. So Jimmy, what does Kinston do? What's their plan when the Wood Ducks move?
Yeah, so they are trying to recruit another team there, and I think they've talked to some independents. I think they've talked to some wood bat leagues. I think the Coastal Plains League is a name that's come up a lot as something that might make sense there. So I think they're confident that there will be baseball at Granger Stadium next year. It won't be minor league baseball. If you look at the experiences of some of the like the Appalachian League teams that went wood bat, they're actually drawing better than they did before. And it's possible that the future for baseball in Kinston looks brighter than the last few years have been.
Now, for those who might not be familiar, I mean, I have some familiarity with this. When what is it about the wood bat? I mean, it's an instructional league.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I mean, you talk about the chances of a single A player moving up, right? I mean, the chances of these guys in the instructional leagues is even slimmer. So what is the draw to that?
I think it's baseball being played in Granger Stadium. I mean, those teams are for college kids who are in the off season and trying to get used to using a wood bat to improve their draft prospects down the road. And, in terms of what it looks and feels like in the stadium, it might not be terribly, terribly different from what low A ball has been, but you won't have that appeal of, going to a game and maybe you're seeing someone who will become Manny Ramirez or something like that, which did happen in Kinston.
No, I know. Heck, it's what Miguel Cabrera came out of the Mudcats when he was single A. Coming up to the Marlins organization, going back to the whole romanticism of baseball, and I know you had posted this on social media, the photos that are in the assembly piece as well, pop. And again, the reason why is because of this kind of like throwback nature to the stadium, sunsets, purple skies, all that stuff. Again, these are all reasons why people end up going to these types of things. It's a much more intimate feel that gets you connected with the game.
Yeah, and as a member of the media, the experience for me and Tyler Northrup, who was the photographer on that, was we were just kind of let in, and we went wherever we wanted to.
Can you imagine doing that with, say, the Braves? Right?
No.
Like, here, just walk around, do what you want to do. Can you imagine doing that?
Not at all. And I went to one of the games this past weekend with my son, and he walked all the way down the third baseline, and at the end of the stands, like you can talk to the other team's bullpen players and throw baseballs down to them and they'll sign them. And they're just kind of hanging out at the edge of the stadium. Don't think Major League Baseball wants that experience for their players. I think they want a little more space to corral people.
Did you get into any details regarding, I guess, the future of baseball outside of Kinston? But, there's a lot of folks who love baseball in the state who really want a professional team, and how all these places like Kinston and whatnot would be affected by the potential of a Major League Baseball team? Is that something that even factors in?
No, didn't really get into that because that seems to be happening on such a different plane than any of the stuff around like the movement in Kinston and in Wilson. Yeah. So I'm not sure what the effect of that would be. I can't imagine that a Raleigh team would be drawing against a Wilson team necessarily, because you've got two different sets of audiences there.
Fair. Well, it gets back to your $2 beers, and I mean, they're $5 beers now, but be more expensive at a Major League Baseball game for sure.
Well, I'm just, it's hitting me a little bit here because we had Ron Shelton in this studio. I mean, what a fucking storyteller.
I know it's hitting you because you've dropped multiple F-bombs in this segment. I know you're feeling it deep.
What a storyteller.
Yeah.
Like none of that exists.
No.
Right?
No.
So, I mean, that's kind of what North Carolina was, the old Sally League. Like, and I get it. Like the Bulls have already elevated what we think of in terms of a minor league experience. But like, I'm really shook here over the idea that Major League Baseball thinks that they're Clemson and they need a slide to attract players or some bullshit. Like, that is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. You need facilities for minor league baseball? Well, there is the whole premise is you don't want to be there.
There is to be fair.
Well, we need parking? What is this, Duke football with women's bathrooms? Like, what?
Well, you do need women's bathrooms, Joe.
No, that was plan A. That was renovation A.
But I mean, that was kind of a big deal when they updated Wallace Wade because they were pretty bad. I mean, we're talking Porta Johns. I mean, there is an expectation of quality of life improvements. I mean, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
But there's also like, what are the limits to Joe's point? What are the limits to this quality of life that we're talking about? If you want to live the luxury life of Major League Baseball, well, then you got to strive to get to Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Jimmy, were you not prepared for the Joe Giglio experience?
He was not.
this is my first go around with the Joe Giglio experience.
Okay.
I'm-
See,
I'm
I thought all
trying
technician
to ride it out as well.
No,
as I
honestly,
can.
I thought all technician people knew each other. You know, I thought you guys had like a secret text message thread
You
going.
can't get me going, man. You can't get me this early.
I know. Jeez, goodness gracious.
I think
Poor
that
Jimmy.
I think that wanting, and you know, I love Granger Stadium. I can't really speak to what the locker rooms in there are like right now, but if you look at, you know, the way that analytics and sports science have kind of taken over baseball and everywhere else over the last 20 years, I think that there is a real belief that you need a first-class experience for the things that shape how a player develops, and so having locker rooms that meet a certain standard is a part of that. And either you're doing it or you're not doing it. It would have cost $5.5 million to upgrade Granger Stadium to do everything that Major League Baseball wants it to do.
Yeah.
And that was just a reach for Kinston when they just put $2 million into the stadium 4 years ago or 7 years ago to draw the team. So I get your point. Like,
Well,
A-ball shouldn't feel like Major League Baseball.
Isn't that right? What you just said, though, they already invested $2 million in the stadium, and now they're already losing the team.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
your
the definition of a Ponzi scheme.
I mean, we see this. I mean, but we see this across, and this is something that you might be able to explore at a later date. You know, we're going to see we're going to see this with PNC Arena, right? We're going to see this with Bank of America Stadium. The minute the renovations are done, the stadium's already obsolete.
Yeah.
Because something else new has been opened up. There's been another renovation plan that's been completed. Like all the things that are needed for PNC Arena, that are needed for Bank of America Stadium to upgrade to what fan expectations are now. Because it's a lot easier just to stay home.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to stay home.
Yeah.
That's why I call them event spaces. You're not just going to watch the game, because oftentimes the only way you could watch the game was to go to the game. It wasn't on TV. Everything's on TV now. It's cheaper. So you got to make this event space. And I think that's the thing that cities have to reconcile when they start getting involved with this stuff. Yeah, there's a threat of losing it, but also this is just the, you know, like you like to say, Joe, the price of poker when it comes to wanting professional sports now. And I guess Kinston's finding that out the hard way. But to your point, I do think it's interesting that they're not giving up on baseball together. And there's other ways to do this.
Yeah.
And that's where the Wood Bat League comes into play.
Yeah. And that can be a thing that, that the town can support and not feel stretched to put new investments in every few years. That it could fit the kind of town that Kinston is. It's sad. I mean, I grew up going to games there. I sold ice cream there for a summer in high school, and minor league baseball feels like a thing that should happen in Kinston.
Well, and we can close on this as it relates to Kinston. Kinston, as far as my experience with Kinston, I've only been there a handful of times. I know people from Kinston like you. And there's, you know, obviously there's the basketball connection, you know, players that come out of Kinston. Sometimes they'll go to Duke, but most of the times they'll go to Carolina.
One time they go to Duke.
You know, that one time they went to Duke, right? But people from Kinston are fierce about Kinston.
Yeah.
And they've tried to put a reinvestment into the town. But you know, like anything in that part of the state, there's some ups and downs that go along with it. You've had a brewery economy, you've had restaurants invest, you know, all these other things. But ultimately, you have to find other reasons to draw people to Kinston. And you know, baseball is one of those things. So I could see why there was a no-brainer to invest $2 million to improve Granger Stadium at that time.
Yeah.
Because you got to bring people to the town. That's one way to do it.
Yeah. And you know, at the game that I went to, most of the people I talked to were from Craven County or somewhere outside of Kinston. So, I mean, there's some sign that their interest in making that a regional team had some success. It's hard to say whether a Coastal Plain League would draw in the same way. And will Kinston be a tourist destination without baseball? How much of one is it with baseball?
Yeah, right. All the things. All right. That's all at the Assembly. Check it out. Jimmy Ryals wrote a piece. Beautiful photography in this piece as well. I know you didn't take them, but they're very, very nice pictures to go along with very, very nice words. I was not expecting the Jimmy Joe here experience with all the F-bombs, but that was entertaining. I mean, If you're gonna make the time to come up to the studio, Jim.
Yeah, I gotta bring the heat. For
He's
you
bringing the
just a
heat
little
for
bit.
you.
If I come back, can I drop an F-bomb?
You can do
Would that
whatever
be
you
okay?
want. We're a podcast, man.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah.
I can tell you fairly certainly that the person who edited your story will not like that, because I would do that often in meetings, and he did not like that. But it was part of the, as Ovies likes to say, you can't go full Giglio. You didn't, at our former employer, you haven't earned the right to go full Giglio. At the paper, I had earned the right to go full Giglio. So there were many of those experiences.
And now, as your own business owner, you can do what you want.
I can do what I want.
Exactly. Jimmy, thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Big thanks to Homefield. Check them out online, homefieldapparel.com. Use that promo code OG24 to save 15% off your first order. Buy a bunch of stuff you can save, and it's all amazing, incredible stuff. You throw it in the wash, the hoodie, right? I have the Homefield Podcast Festival hoodie.
Mhm.
Awesome event. Still kind of like haven't really processed how cool of an event it was. But the best part about it was those hoodies. And I threw it in the wash, because whatever, you got to wash these things. And well, I had a lesson one time. Like I was an idiot that like bought a shirt from a secondhand seller. And I was like so excited to put it on. I wore it for whatever I needed it for, and I got a rash. That's nice. So I wash everything before I put it on now. So sensitive skin. Anyway, put in the home field
ad. So yeah.
Put in the home field. Right. Put in the home field hoodie in the washer and the dryer. It came out just as soft.
Delicious.
Just as soft as the day that I got it. That's the beauty of Homefield. So check them out, homefieldapparel.com.
Oh man, that I searched for that Iowa coach's jacket.
Yeah.
They're like, "Are you sure?" You're like, they're terrible at football. But I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point.
It's the whole point. I want to rock that thing. Big thanks to two Roosters. Joe Giglio has been hoarding it, and you better get to it before he does. Go to roosters.com for all their rotating flavors every month. They've got their home chef collection going on right now.
I'm not ready to commit to the mint fudge just yet. The mint fudge brownie.
Okay.
That's going to be the win. That's going to be the answer. But I still have the peanut butter cookie. James was home from ECU last night. He had a good doctor's appointment. And he was like, do we have anything for like dessert? And I was like, do we have anything for dessert? Be prepared for the world's greatest dessert, sir.
Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out online at bugsbite.com. You can bundle and save when you get Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. I know it's September. You're hankering for fall. It's been hoodie and shorts weather, but we got another heat wave coming through, and mosquitoes can be active. So get that treatment today. And of course, take care of the inside of your house. Again, that is bugsbite.com. Bundle and save with our friends. You still can't get over
I
that.
don't know why he's wearing a bra. It just doesn't make any sense.
You don't think you're thinking too hard, dude. You're thinking too hard. So I miss this Monday Night Football, but it's also very, very relatable. So Jason Kelce is now doing stuff with ESPN,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess he got to San Fran, and he's done something I think we've all done. You get to your destination for work on a work trip, and you forgot your stuff. This happened to me at Operation Basketball last year.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, I showed up to Charlotte, showed up to Nada's, grabbed the radio equipment, grabbed my computer.
Whoops, forgot my clothes.
Where are my clothes? So we booked it to a Walmart, and I got, like an undershirt to put over my shacket, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, that wouldn't fly on ESPN. ESPN has a little bit of a higher standard when it comes to clothes. So Jason Kelce had to go. Yeah, they do. So Jason Kelce had to go out and get,
For everyone not named Pat McAfee, they do.
this is true. He's a different beast, dude. He's a different beast. So he has to go and get a store-bought, off-the-rack dress shirt.
Sure.
And I've never been this relatable with a football player in my life.
My tits are still struggling. My tits are still struggling.
So if you're not watching on YouTube, Kelce's sitting down and his dress shirt's popping out of the chest area because his man boobs aren't sitting right with the shirt. And I'm like, you know what? This is me anytime I have needed a dress shirt for wedding, back when I used to wear dress shirts for work. And it was like, how can I find a shirt where my tits are not making those buttons plead for their life.
Work.
And then, as I've gotten chunkier in my old age, back to Fat Joe days, now it's my gut where the buttons are screaming for dear life.
That's why you go hoodies.
But yes, this is why I now wear t-shirts and a sport coat when I go to sporting events.
Mhm.
Also, it's branding, Joe. It's branding. And actually, what he should have done, he should have been wearing a New Heights shirt.
Well, he doesn't matter. He's getting
That's a good
stacks
point.
on stacks.
Okay, that's a valid point. That is a valid point.
Topics, stack it up. Giglio, throw back it up. Well, I know what we'll do. A lightning round.
Today in Dion, I feel like this is a segment we can do.
Mhm.
So when Dion's not battling with media or going on podcasts to talk about various things, the latest thing in Dion land in Colorado, coming out of the beatdown that was suffered against Nebraska.
Mhm.
Oh man, making Matt Rule feel good. Going back to the college football podcast I listened to, it was Dan Wetzel who was like, Nebraska is back. I go, no. We're not doing that. We're not talking about Matt Rule potentially bringing this thing back. I think that had more to do with the fact that in year 2, the charm of Colorado is done and real football has to be discussed, and they can't play defense, man. Defense is a problem for Colorado.
They also can't run.
They also can't run.
Can't just sit back and throw the ball every down.
Which becomes about Shedeur Sanders, and Shedeur Sanders wasn't happy with us offensive line and all this other stuff.
Nebraska's going to start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-0. Then they're going to get pasted by the Ohio State, and then they'll lose to USC, and then potentially one of their last games to go 9-3. But there's going to be a lot of Nebraska's back tuck, so you should probably gird yourself to be ready for that.
Fine. Whatever. The latest drama is that there was a report that Dion told Colorado's band that they could not do their fight song because they had to make room for the PA to play Shedeur Sanders' song.
Oh, he has a song. Yeah, that's right.
He has a song. So because really Colorado was a vehicle for Dion and Shedeur, it has now presented itself in, oh, no. We're not here for the school stuff. We are here for Shedeur. And I only have a question to this entire point. At what point does it turn on Dion, or has it already turned on Dion? Because like the ratings for games are good, but I would imagine that the ratings for those games, because they're going to keep getting primetime opportunities or key television slots, is because the ratings for Colorado games are good. I'm wondering when that whole fascination will end because of the sideshow.
Right, as long as Shedeur's playing and you're in a year where there really isn't another, true number one overall, people are gonna want to watch him anyway.
That's fair,
right? But they're bad. They're really bad. They're not gonna win maybe three games.
I was gonna say they're not a bowl team, right?
Yeah.
So be curious to see how this all plays out as the season goes on.
We've got a lot to get to. It's a lightning round.
Dion, though, I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a problem with what he said yesterday, where he was like basically saying you're supposed to be better at reporting, like when your job is to actually have facts. Like if he was coming out and basically refuting something, that's what he should do.
That's fine.
In that instance, like I did not have a problem with that. You work for CBS and somebody at CBS said this, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Some of the other stuff like correcting people's language about rebuilding
that's all done.
Whatever, that's stupid.
Yeah, that's all
but
done.
This one, I didn't have a problem with this one.
Well, speaking of reporting, I'm curious your thoughts on this. Don LaGreca occasionally, sports talk radio legend up in New York, occasionally will go on a rant and he goes viral. And that happened this week when he had a problem with a reporter asking Dexter Lawrence about booing Giants fans.
I gotta tell you, I still don't like what he said. But the stuff that went viral was the last part. I would like to know who asked the question. I mean, come on, really? It's a football game. A lot of bad things happened. A lot of things that you can ask X's and O's. How do the fans? Come on, if you got nothing, don't ask a question. There's been plenty of times I've been in a locker room in the scrum, Michael,
and you got nothing,
and I didn't ask a question, because I didn't have one. But that to me felt like, well, I got to ask a question. I'm here. I have to ask a question so I can tell everybody that I got a chance to talk to Dexter Lawrence after the game. I can tell my grandchildren, I talked to Dexter Lawrence after the game. But unfortunately, I'm not good at what I do. So I had to ask a question. So what I did is I thought back in my mind and I said, I'll ask about the fans booing. That's a good question, isn't it? No, it's a stupid question. All right. What do you expect the guy to say? Oh, I loved it. I rubbed it on myself. I swear to God, I'm not going to say it. Because there's a lot of guys that I respect, but I got to tell you, I've been covering football for over 20 years. I covered the Jets for 16. I covered the Giants before it. There's a lot of people that are good at what they do, and there's a lot of guys that are bad. There's a lot of people that cover football that have no idea what they're doing. None. Come up with a better. What do you think the fans? Come on, dude. I don't know. What is TMZ showing up to games now? You can't ask a question about football. I'll defend the media to the hilt, but come on, it's a tired question, Michael, and it's a gotcha question because you know it's probably going to be an uncomfortable answer that'll go viral, and you get the flex your muscles that I asked the question.
So then he did his job.
Well, if that's the job, then you know what? Everybody's right about the media. We're a bunch of pigs.
That is classic Don LaGreca. That's also classic New York radio, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad question to ask about being booed on opening day. By the way, this isn't like
that's key.
like 5-6 days,
yeah, that's
5-6 games into it.
That's key.
Now I will say this, and what I didn't like, and I get it. It's it's New Jersey, blah 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 blah. They somehow had Giants fans at JetLife Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
They have a setup for when the players leave the building. Like I think it's supposed to be for when they enter the building. You know how the Panthers do that? Like they cheer and this whole thing.
Right.
There were people waiting after the game to boo Daniel Jones as he walked to his car. Like, I get it. You're upset. I get it that he didn't play well. But that does feel like a little bit much. Boo all you want during the game. I got no problem with that. But like following him to the parking lot and booing him as he walked to the car, that's pretty shitty.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Meanwhile, in New York, this also went viral during the week to the point where the host had to address it. This is from Frank Pellegrino. Extremely uncomfortable moment during the Yankees and Cubs broadcast on Yes, as real Michael K, the announcer, and John Flaherty come off like bitter, passive-aggressive ex-lovers. I'm like, oh, go on. What do we have here?
The middle of a residential neighborhood.
Yeah, and you weren't very talkative on the bus this morning to the field, but as I was driving here, I was thinking it'd be great to get a place that's close. You could walk back and forth. I know you mentioned Don Zimmer living out the apartments out in center field. But I just had a lot of time to think on the team bus today because it was just very quiet.
So you'd rather me be chatty. I wasn't feeling great.
I haven't seen you in a long time, right? You don't work road trips anymore when I'm on the road. So I thought we would catch up, but it quickly was evident that you weren't in the mood. So I gathered my thoughts about how it would be nice to live close to Wrigley, walk back and forth to the park.
Interesting narrative that you're putting together. Because I've been told by executives that you prefer to work with Ruocco. That's why you two guys are matched up all the time. I mean, that's just what I heard. I don't know if there's any truth to it.
I just put it together that the road trips you don't want to go on, that I end up working with Ryan Ruocco because we're willing to work the games on the road.
Ground ball to short, Swanson. Listen, John, I don't make out my schedule. I go where I'm told.
All right. 10 seconds.
I'll be very chatty tomorrow.
15 seconds of silence. 15 seconds of silence.
You know what that is, man. Baseball's a long fucking season, dude.
When-
162 games.
Look,
dude, come on.
Look,
Come on.
when you
We see each other every day, but
right.
I mean, we still have breaks.
So you learned this. You learned this. And I don't think people understand this. When you have, and this is all to varying degrees in the business, okay? When you do play-by-play, you better like your crew.
Oh,
and even if you like your crew, like any relationship, there's going to be some days where you're just like, man, I'm tired of your shit, okay?
We got to talk for the next 4 hours.
Right.
Like, why do I need to?
Because people
why do I need to massage your balls on the bus ride over here?
People would ask me and Adam all the time, okay? Because Adam and I did radio together for 15 plus years, right?
Yeah, including a couple of 4-hour
Oh yeah.
years.
Oh yeah. I talked to you more than I talked to Kelly, for heaven's sake.
Sure.
Okay. I'm sure no, that's not true. You're on the phone more than I am. So who knows who else you're talking to? All I know is you're probably talking to me more than you are Jess. It's fine. But that's because that's kind of the nature of the business.
Mhm.
You're going to have some moments where you're like, man, I'm just tired of your shit. So we recently had one of those. We're just like, okay, Joe. And that goes both ways.
I was trying to remember
Joe.
which one that one was.
Oh, we were driving in Greensboro.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that one.
So let's not make a big deal out of this. These guys are together all the damn time.
Yeah.
And it bleeds
It's a
over a
lot.
little bit.
It's a
Bleeds
lot.
over just every so often, man. It's not that big of a deal.
Lightning round.
All it took was 1 week, Joe. Are you ready on the We Them Boys cycle to restart? Let's go. Dominic Foxworth on Get Up.
Dominique, if someone were to say the Cowboys, after their dominating performance, are legitimate Super Bowl contenders, what does D-Fox say?
Yes, they are. Like I said before the season that I didn't think they were. But of the most impressive wins we've seen this weekend, this was one of the more impressive wins. This was a playoff team, a great defense, a loaded team. They went in there and dismantled them on the road. So I agree with I agree with myself, my preseason analysis. This team is weaker and worse, but you have to react to what you're seeing. And what we saw was them beat down a pretty substantial opponent.
We Them Boys.
Never mind that the Browns were a playoff team last year with Joe Flacco as the quarterback, not the sexual predator that is Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and there's even more stories that are coming out about Deshaun Watson. I know Dan Lebitard is convinced that
they're being leaked by the Browns. Yeah,
are leaking this.
I thought the same thing when I saw like they're going to try to get out of this contract.
So, but the main point of this was it's hilarious to me of the We Them Boys cycle in that clearly the Browns are a broken team with Deshaun Watson.
With him, yes.
With him,
yeah.
Okay. And there's been some open conversations about whether or not he even still wants to play football the way he's gone about it.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, based on that performance, and I get it, Dak easily could have signed that contract to be the highest paid player, and the We Them Boys cycle was, we got our guy, we are locked in, and then he does a Lulu in the hallway. Okay, that's what we're going to call it now. And he did.
He was in the hallway.
I know, Lulu was in the hallway. But that's context, but that's man. Dude, like legit, We Them Boys.
I love the cycle. Respect the cycle.
The cycle is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Head on over to DraftKings, download the app today. Use the promo code OG24. When you use that promo code as a new customer, you will get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, and you'll get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium, all thanks to DraftKings. Now, DraftKings can do all sorts of stuff. First touchdown, first half over-unders, quarters, all that fun
Anytime
stuff. Right?
touchdown.
Anytime touchdowns.
Yeah, I love it. Anytime touchdown.
Is there a wager to be made on how much of the Aaron Rodgers Netflix documentary, Aaron Rodgers Enigma, that I will watch? Can we get odds on that, Joe? Is that on DraftKings?
Probably not that specific. No.
Okay, we had a question from our guy, Zach. He's like, how much money do I need to pay to OG fans to get a Netflix documentary recap from Ovies? And I said, we have a $7,000 option for a reason on OG fans. Okay.
Yes.
So I don't know. Maybe we should contact our friends at DraftKings to see if we can get over under minutes watched of the Aaron Rodgers documentary. So head on over to DraftKings today, download that app, use that promo code OG24. You bet $5, you will get $250 in bonus bets. We got lines for State, Louisiana Tech, or whoever it is they're playing.
Of course we have college
Louisiana
lines.
Monroe. Who is it they're playing?
Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech, La Tech.
State is a 21.5 point favorite in this game.
The fighting
feels super starchy.
The fighting Tim Brandos
feels super starchy.
Okay.
But as a way to pay homage to my guys at Boston College, I say take the Eagles in the 17 points. This is a 4 Wells game. Today is 9/11, so hence the sweatshirt for our guy, for Wells, and for everyone. So give me the Eagles plus 17.
Are the Tar Heels a double-digit favorite?
They play NC Central.
Is that on the board?
You got to work a little bit harder to find that.
I'm just curious because I was telling you the other day, I was catching up on podcast.
Yeah.
And Bud Elliott's on the cover 3 when it comes to UNC and double-digit Vegas favorites. He's like, no, don't. Just don't.
I know, but they're playing NC Central.
So it should be fine. It should be fine.
But it's not really something I would touch. I mean, because I don't know if Amari Hampton is going to play. He got hurt in the Charlotte game. They shut him down. I suspect it would be in their best interest to not play him in this game as well.
I'm with you on that. DraftKings, promo code OG24. Do it.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
Big thanks to Matt Davis over at State Farm. Check him out online at suregarner.com, theoginsurance.com, or give him a call directly at 919-779-8277. Bundle, save on your home and auto. That's what it's all about. Again, call him directly, an actual human in an office at 919-779-8277. I'll be taking a hockey break a little bit later on today. Not going to the Garner. That's tomorrow.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
Reason why I said we're taking a hockey break and I'm thinking about hockey things is that we're about a week or two away from training camp opening up for the Carolina Hurricanes, which is very, very exciting, which means, Joe, we have to decide what Sebastian Aho is going to cook you in.
I know.
I've decided
I have
Tetris.
I know, but I have to mentally prepare myself to lose to him again because it does take a lot.
Start training on Tetris.
No, because last time I trained forever and
I'm going to get the old PNC little Trinitron from the press box.
I do like darts.
Ooh, okay.
Again, though, hand-eye coordination is probably not a great idea.
That's why I say Tetris. Oh, and we also have to have a rematch with Seth Jarvis on the arena putt-putt.
Yeah, we do.
So,
I had him.
You did. And
Damn, I had
he
him.
sank that hole in one.
He really did.
So,
Weasel.
Hockey's almost back, but the hockey breaks never stop. Big thanks to Happy and Hail. Check them out. Download the app. Make it really, really easy and convenient for you to get in and out with our friends at Happy and Hail. And of course, big thanks to Whitaker and Hammer. You can check them out online at wh.lawyer, attorneys and counselors at law. They can handle every one of your legal needs, big and small. So we thank them for being an OG corporate champion from the jump. Let's get out of here on some Hey Joe questions. We'll go to the YouTube comment section from LAC. You have to understand, as a longtime Fog friend of Giglio, how weird it was to see him look at ease with a dog.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
I've always been afraid of dogs up until Bon Jovi. I got bit by a dog when I was a kid. I still have the scar on my arm.
Really?
Yeah.
So how did the negotiations go to get Bon Jovi in the first place? Like, how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I went and saw him. He was at the PetSmart. He was just chilling. And I was like, okay, he's good.
He's cute. He's handsome, fine.
Okay.
Then you end up loving that damn dog. I was like that with cats. I didn't want cats. I honestly did not want cats.
Yeah.
And then Ollie came through in her cardboard spaceship. And now I love cats. Now I'm a cat man. I'm a crazy cat man. It happens.
And you're allergic to them.
Yeah, well, so here's what's funny about that. For the longest time, I was convinced that my parents told me I was allergic to pets as a way to get out of
getting
a pet.
Hence my never let it showing my kid anything Disney, Mickey Mouse, anything.
Good point.
Yeah.
So I wanted a pet as a kid. My parents were like, no, you're allergic to dogs. You're allergic to dogs. I'm like, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. I didn't believe them. I thought they were gaslighting.
It does feel like something your dad would
Oh,
say.
he absolutely would do that. Yes.
I appreciate that hustle.
My dad lives in his own reality sometimes. If David is listening right now, he's probably nodding along somewhere on I-4 going, yep, for sure. Anyway, turns out my parents were right.
You are.
I am allergic to pets, dogs and cats. It's that dander that'll get me.
Mhm.
So that's why I take Claritin and Flonase and have an air purifier in the bedroom and
All those
hypoallergenic sheets and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
we can have cats.
Absolutely.
So it is what it is. From Thief of Oranges, will somebody please tell Giglio the man's name is Frankie Louvu, not Louvo?
Got it.
Been irking me for months.
Got it.
At least his name is not Sam Louvo.
Yeah.
That would screw me up, right?
Yeah.
It's Frankie Louvu. That makes sense.
Months.
How about this is about the cam curse. How about the hat grabbing, drink tossing mofo curse?
I like that.
I don't know about that. Pardon me while I geek out for just a moment.
Okay.
So there's a comment yesterday from a guy named JS or Jay Snell with the avatar there. He goes, "Go Bears." He's, okay, cow guy. But then I went, wait a minute. I said, wait a minute. Jay Snell, is that Jason Snell? Dude who has covered Apple products for like decades. Macworld, like I follow him on social media.
Yeah.
He's like an Apple guru,
Yeah.
right? He's got this podcast called Six Colors. Like, is that the Jason Snell? So I asked, like, hey man, are you the Apple guru? How the hell did we get here? With a deep Cal reference deep in the podcast. Turns out, this is what he writes. Yep. Cal fan since I was a little kid. My dad started getting season tickets in the 60s, and I've been going since I was 10. A friend of mine based in Durham is a listener. Shout out to listener Chip. Hey, Chip. He sent me a link to your Cal bit. The Bear Territory chain is honestly not our best.
Thank you.
But it's taken on a life of its own. I prefer the soft roll on. Roll on, you Bears, when we get a first down. Of course, I just pointed out, hey man, amazing. Welcome to the Go ACC lifestyle. You will fit right in. He's like, yeah, beating an SEC team right out of the gate sure didn't hurt. I went to Neyland for Cal's loss to Tennessee in 2006. Great experience other than the game. Let me explain something to you.
I can verify you still have pants on. So
Let me explain something. It's not about pant removal. It's a couple of things. One, I think sometimes, especially in the year of our Lord 2024, we look at the internet and we think, man, what a freaking cesspool, right?
Yeah.
Internet sucks. The internet sucks. But there are occasionally moments that the internet reminds you, shit, man, it's a small world, right? And things will cross-pollinate all the time. And like people you never thought you'd actually ever communicate with you.
Here we are.
It's pretty neat.
Look at us.
So me being the Apple dork that I am, when I saw that comment, I was like, oh shit.
Look, Ma.
Look at that. That's awesome. I geeked out. I even screen grabbed it.
Nice.
I'm going to frame it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that.
Giglio was right.
Giglio was right. Yeah, fair enough. What else do we have here? Let's see. What else do we have here? Here we go. From James. Down so bad about the Panthers that I'm watching Cam and Luke highlights with Linger by the Cranberries playing in the background. Yeah, it's a good point. From Ludacris, cannot believe you went the whole show yesterday and didn't do the meeting voice with scratchy voice. I did it earlier. I had to do it. I would have to do it. So anyway, that all stuff was, there's another one from Eric. I'm usually a podcast listener and those lightning round songs are so much better at 1.25x speed. Brant chimes in.
As Hayes likes to say, yeah.
Yeah, Brant chimes in. Totally agree. I have them at 1.25 when I'm listening on my walks. And when I hear them on regular speed, it sounds like they're melting. That sounds like a you problem, guys. That sounds like a you problem. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. My voice hopefully will hold up for our appearance at Nature's Relief tomorrow. And don't forget to submit those mailbag questions. You can call us at 919-444-2211. We'll see you then.